My grandmother kept 6 plants in the corner of every garden she ever had. 3 houses, 2 states, 40 years, same 6 plants. I asked her once what they were for. They're for when things hurt. Then she went back inside. When I finally looked them up, not in wellness blogs, but in peer-reviewed journals, I expected to be disappointed. I wasn't, but I wasn't simply vindicated either. 3 had serious clinical evidence, 2 had weaker studies pointing in the right direction. And the 6th one confirmed something my grandmother had always done instinctively, something the pharmacology explained in a way she never could have. 6 plants. What the tradition says, what the research actually found, and what you need to know before using any of them. Plant 1. Willow bark. If you have ever taken aspirin, you have already taken a pharmaceutical version of what willow bark does. That is not a metaphor. That is chemistry. The active compound is salicin. Your body metabolizes it into salicylic acid, the direct chemical ancestor of the aspirin tablet. Traditional herbalists across Europe, North America, and China had been using willow bark for pain and fever for over 2,000 years before anyone synthesized aspirin in a laboratory. They didn't know why it worked. They knew that it did. Here's what the research actually says. A 2009 systematic review in phytotherapy research examined willow bark specifically for musculoskeletal pain. Standardized extract was associated with meaningful reductions in pain scores in osteoarthritis and lower back pain patients. Not a single study, a structured review of the clinical literature. That includes 2 randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trials by Biegert and colleagues. Journal of Rheumatology, 2004, and 2 earlier trials by Schmid and colleagues in 2001 and 2000 both found statistically significant pain reduction compared to placebo. That is not folk medicine wearing a lab coat. That is a legitimate evidence base. Now the honest part. Willow bark works more slowly than aspirin. It is not a direct replacement. Aspirin allergy. Avoid it entirely. The chemistry is related. On blood thinners, warfarin, aspirin therapy, or similar, speak with your doctor or pharmacist first. The interaction is clinically documented. How do you grow it? Willow is a tree, fast-growing, but a tree. If space is available, grow Salix alba, white willow, moist soil, near water if possible. Harvestable bark within 3 to 4 years, limited space. Salix purpurea, purple osier willow, grows as a large shrub. Hard cut each spring. Harvest young bark from second-year stems. The salicin concentration is highest in the inner bark of young growth. Traditional preparation was a decoction, not a tea. Simmer 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried bark per cup of water for 15 to 20 minutes. Then strain. The taste is bitter. That bitterness is the chemistry. It is supposed to taste like that. The practical mistake, treating willow bark like a tea bag. 5 minutes of steeping gets you almost nothing. You need heat and time. Your grandmother was right about this one. The evidence is solid. Plant 2. Chamomile. Most people think chamomile is a bedtime tea. It isn't, not entirely. Chamomile is a genuinely complex medicinal plant, and sleep is only one of several things traditional herbalists used it for. One of the others is pain. A systematic review and meta-analysis published in PubMed Central examined chamomile specifically for musculoskeletal pain, not general wellness, not relaxation, muscles and joints, controlled trials, structured analysis. The findings suggest chamomile was associated with improvement in musculoskeletal pain outcomes across the trials reviewed. Here's why that makes sense chemically. Chamomile contains alpha-bisabolol and a flavonoid called apigenin, both of which have demonstrated anti-inflammatory activity in laboratory models. Traditional herbalists used it as an anti-inflammatory preparation, internally and externally. The research is moving in the same direction. Here is the honest limitation. We are not at multiple, robust, randomized, controlled trials the way we are with willow bark. The signal is there. The research base needs to grow. That is worth saying plainly. One safety flag most people miss. Chamomile belongs to the Asteraceae family. Ragweed allergy. Start cautiously. Watch for any reaction. How do you grow it? Chamomile is one of the most forgiving medicinal plants you will ever grow. 2 varieties. Matricaria chamomilla, German chamomile, has the stronger medicinal research. Grow this one. Sow directly into well-drained soil in early spring or autumn, thin to 20 centimeters apart. Once established, it self-seeds every year without your help. Harvest when the yellow center just starts to become convex. That is peak volatile oil concentration. Too early, the chemistry isn't ready. Too late, it degrades. Dry quickly at low temperature, not direct sunlight. A warm room with good airflow beats any dehydrator set too high. For pain, brew it strong. 2 heaped teaspoons of dried flower heads per cup of boiling water. Cover while it steeps. This keeps the volatile compounds in the cup. 10 to 15 minutes minimum. The practical mistake, 1 teaspoon, 2 minutes, no cover. That is a pleasant drink. It is not what traditional herbalists were making. Your grandmother brewed it strong for a reason. The research is starting to understand why. Plant 3. Feverfew. Feverfew has one of the longest documented histories of any pain plant in the Western herbal tradition. Greek physicians used it. Medieval European herbals recorded it. Nicholas Culpeper wrote about it in the 17th century for headaches and pain relief. Modern research has narrowed that application considerably, and in doing so, made it more useful, not less. The most clinically studied use is migraine prevention, not acute treatment, prevention. That distinction matters enormously. A double-blind, placebo-controlled study, Phytotherapy Research 1997, found patients taking feverfew experienced a statistically significant reduction in migraine frequency compared to placebo. Not a cure for a migraine in progress. A plant that, taken consistently over time, was associated with fewer migraines occurring. Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, one of the most carefully maintained clinical herb references available, documents feverfew's evidence base and its limitations honestly. The signal for migraine prevention is the clearest. Strong evidence for prevention, considerably weaker for general pain relief. Traditional herbalists used it broadly. Research refined that down to where the evidence actually holds. Now the safety note. This one matters. Feverfew interacts with blood-thinning medications, warfarin, aspirin therapy, clopidogrel, any anticoagulant. Discuss with your doctor or pharmacist before using it in any form. And this, stopping feverfew suddenly after extended use, has been associated with a rebound effect called post-feverfew syndrome. Headaches, anxiety, joint pain. Do not stop abruptly. How do you grow it? Tanacetum parthenium, small white daisy-like flowers, a strong, bitter scent. Grows in almost any well-drained soil. Tolerates partial shade. Self-seeds readily. Plant it where you are comfortable with it spreading. The traditional preparation was not tea. It was fresh leaves, 1 to 3 fresh leaves daily, often in a sandwich to mask the bitterness, taken consistently as a preventive measure. The research studied exactly this: daily consistent use, not occasional dosing. Dried feverfew loses a significant proportion of its active compounds during drying. Fresh preparation is historically more consistent with how it was actually used. The practical mistake: grow it, dry it, make occasional tea, notice nothing, conclude it doesn't work. The evidence is for consistent daily use of fresh material. Occasional dried tea is a completely different preparation with a much weaker case behind it. Traditional herbalists were right about this plant for headaches. Research confirmed the right use. Plant 4. Lavender. This is where we move from strong ground to more careful ground. Lavender's evidence for pain is real, but limited. And limited evidence is not the same as no evidence. Lavender has been traditionally used for tension headaches and general pain relief through topical application. Essential oil on the temples for headache relief is one of the oldest documented uses in European herbalism. What the research suggests, with reasonable consistency, is genuine anxiolytic and mild analgesic properties. Some evidence supports its use in reducing pain perception, particularly in tension headaches. The mechanism involves lavender's effect on GABA receptors in the nervous system. That is a real pharmacological pathway, not folklore. We do not have the robust controlled trials we have for willow bark. What we have is smaller studies pointing in a consistent direction. That is worth something. It is not worth overstating. One interaction worth noting: lavender may enhance the sedative effect of medications that cause drowsiness, sleep medications, anti-anxiety drugs, any CNS depressant. Discuss with your doctor or pharmacist before using it therapeutically. How do you grow it? Lavandula angustifolia, English lavender, is the variety with the strongest medicinal history. Full sun, excellent drainage. Lean soil produces higher concentrations of volatile oils than rich, fertile soil. Neglect suits it. For tension headaches, the most documented traditional use was topical. Dried flowers infused in a carrier oil, almond or olive, applied to the temples and back of the neck. Fill a clean jar loosely with dried lavender flowers. Cover completely with carrier oil. Seal it. Leave somewhere warm for 3 to 4 weeks. Then strain. That is not the same as commercial essential oil. The whole plant-infused oil is the preparation with traditional history behind it. Essential oil is a concentrated distillate, a different preparation entirely. The practical mistake: applying undiluted essential oil directly to skin, experiencing irritation, concluding lavender doesn't work. Never apply undiluted essential oil to skin. Always dilute in a carrier oil first. Your grandmother may have grown this for the smell. She used it for more than that. Plant 5. Turmeric. I am going to say something that will surprise some of you. Turmeric is not the miracle the internet says it is. It is not useless either. The honest truth sits in the uncomfortable middle, and most content about turmeric refuses to go there. The active compound is curcumin. Curcumin has demonstrated significant anti-inflammatory activity in laboratory and animal models. The problem, taken seriously by the research community, is that curcumin has very poor bioavailability in humans. Your body absorbs almost none of it in standard amounts. This is why clinical evidence for turmeric as a pain remedy is considerably more mixed than the laboratory work suggests. Some studies show modest benefit in osteoarthritis. Others show minimal effect without absorption enhancers. Now here's the part that stopped me cold. The traditional solution, which Ayurvedic cooking had arrived at instinctively centuries ago, was to combine turmeric with black pepper. The piperine in black pepper increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Read that again, 2,000%. Traditional herbalists didn't know the biochemistry. Generations of observation had already solved the problem. That is not an accident. That is accumulated intelligence encoded in a recipe. The honest summary: some evidence supports turmeric with piperine being associated with modest improvement in joint pain and inflammation. The evidence does not support the extraordinary claims circulating online. At therapeutic doses, concentrated supplements, not culinary amounts, turmeric can interact with blood thinners and diabetes medications. Discuss with your doctor or pharmacist before supplementing. How do you grow it? Turmeric is a tropical rhizome. In temperate climates, a warm, sheltered spot outdoors, or a container that comes inside before frost. Curcuma longa. Plant the rhizome in spring in rich, moist soil. Harvest in autumn when the leaves die back. In containers, it works extremely well. Large pot, good compost, consistent watering. Fresh rhizome, not dried powder, is the preparation with the clearest historical use. Grated into food, always with black pepper. That combination is not optional. It is the difference between a pleasant yellow color and an actual physiologically relevant dose. The practical mistake: dried powder sitting in a kitchen cupboard for 18 months. Curcumin degrades with time and heat. Fresh rhizome or recently dried high-quality powder, not the faded orange dust from the back of the spice rack. Grow it. Cook with it. Always with black pepper. Plant 6, St. John's Wort. This is the plant I have been building toward. St. John's Wort, Hypericum perforatum. Small yellow flowers, translucent dots on the leaves that, held to the light, look like tiny perforations. Traditional herbalists across Europe used it specifically for nerve pain, not general pain, not joint pain or headaches, nerve pain. The burning, shooting, electricity along a wire discomfort that conventional medicine has always found difficult. Neuralgia, sciatica, pain along nerve pathways. The research is real. Its primary compounds, hypericin and hyperforin, have demonstrated activity on neurotransmitter systems in ways that go well beyond what simple folk remedy would predict. Some evidence supports its association with improvement in nerve-related pain conditions. But here is what surprised me. Here is what sent me back to my grandmother's garden with completely different eyes. St. John's Wort has the most clinically significant drug interaction of any common garden herb. Not subtle, not theoretical. Documented across multiple drug classes. Taken seriously by pharmacologists worldwide. It induces a liver enzyme called CYP3A4, which accelerates the metabolism of dozens of medications. In practical terms, it causes the body to process certain drugs faster than it should, reducing their effectiveness to potentially dangerous levels. The medications affected: warfarin, digoxin, certain antidepressants, HIV medications, immunosuppressants, and certain blood pressure medications. Now here is what took my breath away. My grandmother grew St. John's Wort in that corner, and in all the years I watched her, she never combined it with anything from the medicine cabinet during certain periods. I assumed it was habit, superstition. When I read the pharmacology as an adult, I understood. She was right. Instinctively, observationally, generationally right. In a way she had no scientific language to explain. The knowledge had traveled down through everyone who used this plant long enough to notice what happened when it was combined carelessly. Encoded as habit, as quiet practice, as simply the way things were done. The research confirmed what the tradition already knew. How do you grow it? Hypericum perforatum, a sprawling perennial, poor soil, full sun. Once established, it requires almost nothing. It will spread. It will return every year. It will flower every summer without intervention. Harvest the flowers and buds at peak bloom, typically June through August. The active compounds are most concentrated in buds just beginning to open, not the fully opened flowers. The traditional preparation for topical nerve pain was an infused oil, fresh flowers and buds loosely packed into a clear glass jar, covered completely with olive oil, left on a sunny windowsill for 4 to 6 weeks. The oil will turn a deep, remarkable red. That color is hypericin. Strain it. Store in a dark bottle. Applied topically to areas of nerve pain. This preparation has a documented traditional history that predates any clinical research by centuries. Topical use does not carry the same systemic interaction risk as internal use. But internal use, tea or tincture, requires a conversation with your doctor or pharmacist if you take any regular medication. The list is long. Warfarin, digoxin, certain antidepressants, particularly SSRIs, where the combination can cause serotonin syndrome, blood pressure medications, immunosuppressants, oral contraceptives, the practical mistake, seeing St. John's wort at a health food store, reading that it is natural and assuming natural means safe. We said at the start of this video that natural does not mean harmless. This plant is the clearest proof of that principle. Grow it. Make the topical oil. Learn what it looks like, what it smells like, what it has meant to people who grew it for 1,000 years before you. And if you want to use it internally, have that conversation first. If you are on any medication, this is not optional caution. This is the most important safety note in this entire video. Do not expect miracles. 6 plants. That is the honest examination. 3 where the evidence is solid, willow bark, chamomile, feverfew. 2 where it is real but still developing, lavender, turmeric. And 1 where traditional knowledge and modern research arrived at exactly the same place, from completely different directions. Where the most important thing your grandmother knew was not what the plant could do. It was what to be careful about. One more time, plainly, if you are on any medication, do not add therapeutic use of any of these plants without speaking to your doctor or pharmacist first. 10 minutes, 1 conversation, always worth it. Here's the only thing I want you to do after this video. Find one of these 6 plants, the one that resonated most, the tone that reminded you of someone. Grow it. Watch it through 1 full season before you ask anything of it. That is how your grandmother did it. Not as a consumer of herbal medicine, as a grower of it. When you grow a plant yourself, put it in soil with your own hands, watch it establish flower, and come back the following year. You understand something no video can give you. If this video gave you something real, share it with 1 person, not for the numbers. Because someone in your life is making decisions about plant medicine right now with incomplete information. Someone who deserves to know what the evidence actually says. Pass it on. We are going deeper on every one of these plants. Willow bark, feverfew, St. John's wort. The CYP3A4 interaction alone deserves its own video. Subscribe. Every video on this channel comes from the same place, the truth about what grows and what it actually does. In the comments, tell me which of these 6 plants is already in your garden or which one you are planting first. My grandmother kept 6 plants in the corner of every garden she ever had. She never explained them. She never needed to. Now you know why she grew them. Take care of what you grow. It will take care of you.